Thus, the world we have so long known, in which most currencies were redeemable at a fixed price in store of value money like gold, is in disarray. People are confused and wondering what money they can trust. Tuesday, March 12th, 2024, Maneko 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. We're going to look at Bitcoin today, gold, silver, and what I think Bitcoin really is. Yes, I know there are a lot out there, the Bitcoin maximalists and the people that are piling into the Bitcoin ETFs right now who believe it's the future of money. But I have a different opinion on that, and I've not had the same opinion throughout the years, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to play a clip from 2016 where I spoke about my opinion on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I have been following Bitcoin since 2012. I used to trade it back then, and back in 2016 I used to speak about it on my channel. And one of the things I remember, and a lot of people are going to deny this, especially the Bitcoin maximalists right now, is that it was marketed not just as a store of value, a digital store of value, a system that is trustless. What does trustless mean? Well, it means that you don't have to worry about there being double spending and things like that. Because the blockchain will provide like a record of it forever, right? And the miners will make sure that that happens. Yeah, so it was all of those. I even remember a project back in the day, 2016 or 17, where, or even before, where they were providing people with Bitcoin cards that you could spend to buy a coffee. They were pushing this idea that Bitcoin was a peer-to-peer currency as well. But nowadays, with Bitcoin having gone up so much, that's going out the window. And why is that? Well, because to transfer Bitcoin peer-to-peer, and I'm not talking here about ETFs, you need the miners to do all the work, right? All the coding, whatever they do. I'm not a specialist in that. In order to record that transfer on the blockchain for posterity. So if you're looking to buy a chewing gum for, I don't know how much chewing gum costs these days, but for $1, yes, someone's going to have to do that. And maybe the cost of transferring Bitcoin has gone down. There's new systems out there, but is it on the blockchain? I've heard that there is. But I'm going to play to you here a clip of a video I did in 2016 about that, and you can listen to it. And I said at the time that transferring 1 or 2 or half a Bitcoin was very simple, very quick, and the cost was relatively low. So here you go. I believe, the mining of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is all a real thing. And one of the things that I find good about Bitcoin is how quickly you can transfer, the units, of Bitcoin, be it 1 Bitcoin or less than a Bitcoin, whatever. It's very quick. The charge isn't huge. So, as I said, I don't use Bitcoin anymore. I don't transfer it around. Sometimes I do, use Bitcoin to cash in some altcoins that I have and send it to not to an exchange, but to an Uphold wallet. But lately I've been using really the USDT. So I don't know what the cost of transferring, the price of a coffee for Bitcoin would be. But nowadays people tell us that Bitcoin is just supposed to be a store of value like gold, but I think that doesn't make Bitcoin the best money or the best currency. And again, you're going to say it's not a currency, but I'm going to prove to you that gold has always been, of course, I don't have to prove to you, but we know that gold and silver have been money for thousands of years. But you get the view that, wow, gold at $2,000, you can't take an ounce of gold to buy this and this. But as I said, what I think Bitcoin is helping the powers that be is mask the hyperinflation of the dollar, because the dollar is not fit for purpose anymore. And if we go back prior to 1933, I'll show you here an example where gold is a perfect currency and so is silver. So I've got here a $20 gold piece, and this is from, I think, 1904. So that was $20. Yes, it had a lot of purchasing power, has a lot of purchasing power today, almost $2,200. But you could go somewhere, to a fancy restaurant in a big city with a large group of people, have a really nice meal and pay with that. And what if the bill came to 2,000, let's say, it wasn't 2,200. Well, then they would give you change. It could either be with a $5 gold piece. It could be with a $10 gold piece. Let's say the bill was 1,100 and you only had $20. Well, they give you one of these back, and there would be no charge. Yes, I know, and you guys can correct me, that there's probably ways of transferring Bitcoin that are very cheap, but it's not cheaper than transferring like hand to hand, because there's no cost. That's why gold is money and a currency. Same thing with silver. And silver, of course, divides the dollar even more. Divides, the $20 piece even more. Here's $1. And it just goes to show, this is about, this is not even an ounce. It's like 0.72 of an ounce. So it's like $20 equivalent today, fiat. And this is like 2,200. So the ratio is way out of whack. Silver is way undervalued. But back in the day as well, if the bill for something was $19 and you paid with that, you'd get one of these back. Or you could get two of these back, $2 half, or you could get 4 quarters, or you could get 10 dimes, or you could get 20 nickels. Don't have a nickel with me, but I'm sure I've got it somewhere. But yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes, Bitcoin has become speculation. It's storing value, a lot of value, of course, and so is Nvidia. So did the dot-com bubble stocks in the 1990s, late 1990s. They stored a lot of value, but at one point that value dissipated. It's not working as a currency. So right now, it's working as speculation and as an ETF, while gold and silver could very easily work as currency as well, because they are currency. The paper notes that we have, or dollar bills or pound notes, they're just a representation of these. They might make it easier for you to carry it around. And even with those, when you exchange, when you pay people hand to hand, there is no cost. The cost is in the digital world. And that's why I think Bitcoin is not going to be up to par as a currency, or even as money for that matter. So what I want to do here is go through John Exter's take on currencies today. And he says currencies today are I owe you nothings. John Exter, of course, he was a central banker. Yeah, I'm not a fan of central bankers, but he knew the value of money and how of gold, sorry, and silver and how important they were. He was a gold bug. He helped, of course, found the central bank of Ceylon or Sri Lanka. He helped organize the Philippine Central Bank. He worked for the New York Fed, but he he was a gold bug, a sound money advocate. And I think he died about 10, 15 years ago, but he's the guy who devised the inverted pyramid, of course. But this is a great essay he wrote here, or presentation he did to the American Institute for Economic Research of Great Barrington, Massachusetts, and this was from June 1972, just under a year after Nixon closed the gold window. So this is what he says. This is what is important for us to listen to. And I would say the people or the committee that created Bitcoin, and I think it was a committee, you had to have people with knowledge of all walks of economic and financial life to create Bitcoin. It's a big psyop, in my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. It's a deep state psyop. They knew they were going to need, when the dollar came to its last legs, to distract the public away from real money. But anyway, this is what he says. Now that the international monetary system we have so long known has broken down, and the world is groping through monetary reform for a new one, it is time to consider some fundamentals. What is money anyway? First, it is a means of payment or a medium of exchange. I prefer the first phrase. It is simpler. We all use money to pay our bills, to buy goods and services. There you go. And you can use these. Yeah, the paper just represents them, people. Just think about Bitcoin when you think of that. We also accept money when we sell. Second, it is a standard of value. We quote values of goods and services in terms of it. The resulting ratios are prices. And the other thing I would say is that it has to be a stable store of value. And the reason gold is a stable store of value is because it has a stock to flow ratio of 85 years. You can see silver is not such a good store of value, money, as gold, but it still has a stock to flow ratio of 22 years. Palladium and platinum less than a year. What does that mean? Well, it means that there's 85 years of gold production out there, and always, and silver 22 years. So it means that there will always be supply out there, because money cannot be consumed because you need to store it. And I think the people, the committee that created Bitcoin, they thought of that, and that's why they made the supply of Bitcoin limited. But how do you work out, how many Bitcoin you're going to need in terms of supply? I think the Bitcoin supply is too scarce. Money, like a Mona Lisa is a great store of value, but there's only one, so it's no good as money. And I think that's the mistake the committee that created Bitcoin made, that it didn't create enough. Again, humans trying to create money is an abomination, in my opinion. Gold and silver are God's money, and I'm going to say it here. Or if you want to call it nature's money, and it's been a very good resource for commodity in terms of that. So let's continue. The resulting ratios are prices. Third, it is a store of value. Yes, that's the only how can I say, it's the only quality of money that Bitcoin is doing right now. And I would say it's a store of volatile value, though, because an asset that can go from 68,000 down to 15 and back up to 68 could very easily go back down to 15. And that's not a stable store of value. Yeah, we hope to avoid loss by holding it. That's right, avoid loss. So let's say you're 65 years old and you buy a Bitcoin at 70,000 and it goes to 150,000 in a year. You retired it, you keep it, but then a year after that it drops to 20,000 and stays there for 10 years. Is that a good store of value? As John Exter said, we hope to avoid loss by holding it. Money holds its value if it is scarce and remains scarce. Well, I think the problem with Bitcoin is that it's too scarce. It's a bit like the Mona Lisa. But anyway, scarcity is the keystone of store of value money. I'm going to continue here, give you some more opinions from John Exter, or some more of his views. Today, no money in the world fully performs all three services. National currencies are being used as means of payment and standard of value. Yes, fiat currencies are great for means of payment, especially the paper currencies, because there's no cost, there's no seigniorage. Digital payments with cards, the banks get a fee every time you use those cards. I think they're not a good means of payment. The only good means of payment are coin and notes. But none in this inflationary age is an assured store of value money. In fact, a foremost concern to voters and politicians everywhere is that so many currencies are so rapidly losing their value in terms of commodities and services. Commodities like gold and silver, which are being used as store of value money, are not being used as either means of payment and standard of value money. Thus, the world we have so long known, in which most currencies were redeemable at a fixed price in store of value money like gold, is in disarray. People are confused and wondering what money they can trust. So there you go. And I'm sure billions of people are confused right now what money they should use. So what better way to convince them that it's Bitcoin by goosing up the price to, levels that are crazy, in my opinion, and playing on their emotion, their greed, to lure them into really what is a speculation and something that is not natural. Yes, and I'm going to get a lot of stick for this, but I'm going to hold on to to my views that this is the most, these are the most stable stores of value, means of payment, means of account as well. What we're seeing now, I think, is the end of the fiat system. And as John Exter said, everyone's confused. So they'll go for anything that looks good. They'll go for the Ferrari, the Lamborghini. And I think they're going to get burned. They're going to crash and burn, because you need to be, if you're going to drive that quickly, those kinds of cars, you need to be a good driver, i.e. a speculator. So ultimately, I think this fad that Bitcoin is going to die out. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. And a lot of people are going to hope they had some of this. So I'm going to stop at that right now, and we're going to quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:45 a.m. London time, Spot gold is trading at 21.77. It's down about $5. High's been 85, low 73. And I didn't realize the other day that you guys have changed your clocks in the US. We haven't yet. So we're only 4 hours ahead right now. So it might seem that this video is late. But yeah, it's late for Americans, but not for the UK. Spot silver is down $3 at 24.40. 42, sorry. High's been 55, low 36. So that 24.50 level there, still resistance. The Dow futures is unchanged, actually. NASDAQ futures up 86. S&P 500 is up 14. The pound is down 0.25%, 127.79. The euro is unchanged, 109.22. And the dollar is up 0.25% versus the yen, 147.35. The Aussie dollar, that's unchanged, 66.12. The dollar is unchanged versus the Canadian dollar, 134.78. And let's see, the Kiwi dollar is up, down a bit here, but down 1/10 at 61.60. To the commodities, WTI crude is up 1/3, just below $78. And Brent is up 1/3 at 82.20. Platinum, that's down $9, trading around 930. And high-grade copper is down 0.25% at 392. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.